I broke a tool, but that's okay. We know how to fix it. I'm going to show you how to fix a gouge today because I chipped one. Let's flip the camera around. We'll jump right into it. I have got a chip in that tool. What happened is I was using this tool as a drill bit in the hand of this here wizard to put this staff through. And so I was putting it in there and I was turning it, and you know what you shouldn't do? You shouldn't use a gouge as a drill bit, and I caused this damage to my tool by misusing it. If you use one of your tools and you cause a chip like that, what do you do to fix a gouge like this? So we're going to go over today. I'm going to show you real quickly. And I'm going to start with my coarse and very coarse stones. You can see one side says coarse, one side says very coarse. So I'm going to swap over here to the extra coarse first, just to get us down to the shape we need to be in. If your tool isn't perfectly straight, it's not going to matter. I don't know if you can see this on this one. On the right side, right there, right in here, you'll notice that gouge isn't perfectly straight. It doesn't need to be perfectly straight because it's sharp along the apex. And because it's sharp along the apex, it still carves wonderfully. So if you don't get it perfectly straight, it doesn't matter a lick. What matters is it sharp along that apex? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to repair the tool by first leveling out that plane. And I'm going to do that on the stone. Put a little water on there. Why am I putting water on my stone? Because I want to be able to remove the swarf. Swarf is the word we use to describe all of that excess metal that gets left behind on our sharpening device. So while I do this, that water will help that swarf move along. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to put this tool straight down on the stone, and then I'm going to go straight across. As you can see here, we have sharpened that up to where it is now flat across there. The issue is, you'll notice, the carving edge now is flat as well. Now we need to sharpen this along the back side of this gouge here to bring that apex back out and sharpen this up. How am I going to do that? I'm going to sharpen it on the same stone. I'm going to start on the left side tine. This is the right side tine, like U-shaped here underneath it, right? And all I'm going to do is I'm going to move it back and forth, and watch my fingers. I'm turning this, getting the entire surface of this gouge as I go. Maybe I'll concentrate on one side and then concentrate a little bit on the other side and then work the middle a little bit. I want to make sure I get even all the way around as I do this. What bevel or degree should I look for? About the same that I have already. You see, I've got this particular line right there, okay? So that if I was holding that flat, it's going to be at about, let's say flat in the hand, at about that angle, okay? You see that flat surface that we got there already? That one that was already existing? I want it to be able to catch just like that. So that's the angle I need to hold it at by looking at that. How am I going to judge this? I'm going to judge it as best I can as a guesstimation. If I get it off a little bit, it'll still work. If I get it off a lot, I might need to go back in and resharpen it. So I'm turning it back and forth on that rough coarse stone at the approximate angle that I know I want to carve at. Now what am I looking for here? Now you had saw how thick that line was. What we're doing is we're looking at it now, and it's gotten thinner, not all the way across. It's gotten thinner more here on this side than it has over here, and you can barely see that difference. It's almost imperceptible. So I need to concentrate more on this side as I continue than this side. Working on that one side and bringing it around slowly. So I'm just slowly turning it like this. I'm getting a couple of motions in one spot and then turning it, a couple of motions in one spot while I continue to turn it, couple of motions while I continue to turn it. I'm barely turning it, so it moves slowly as I try to take that stuff off. And you can see the swarf in here now, right? The material there, the metal filings getting left behind. Now if you get real in there and look, you'll see we've almost completely lost that flat edge. We're almost back to an apex. What happens once I get to that apex? I move to the fine, and then I move to the very fine, and then I move to a strop. Once I get till I just have no more, it's going to be so imperceptible and so difficult to see a burr forming on this, because this one's so small. I just know I want to form that apex, and as soon as that line vanishes, it's just barely there right now. As soon as that line completely vanishes, that's when I'm swapping stones. I am done with the coarse stone. Let me show you. I realized I didn't show you. Let me show you why I think I'm done with the coarse stone. I'm done with the coarse stone because I don't see any edge on there right now with my eye. Maybe the camera's catching more, but it's down enough that I think I can move the fine stone and then continue on for a bit without taking off too much metal. My goal here is not to take too much metal, because I want to make this tool last as long as possible. So I want to take off just the minimal amount of metal I can, while also getting it enough to keep this thing sharp. So I'm going to go with the fine side, and the extra fine side there too. I'll go to that next, but fine side first. Get a little bit more water for my swarf. And now the same process. Far less material is being moved on this fine stone. Far less material. But that super coarse, extra coarse diamond stone I was using is creating bigger grooves because there's larger chunks of diamond embedded in the nickel plating of the stone. And so this fine stone is going to have much smaller chunks. It's going to create a much smoother surface. So I'm not just sharpening more, I'm also smoothing out that very rough surface I created with the extra coarse stone. So I'm doing that, smoothing that surface out, and then getting that last little bit that might go across the apex of that tool. So right there is where we're at. You can see we're real close. Let me test on a piece of wood. Let me see how close we are. Not enough. You notice how it's not wanting to catch wood. You see? I should be able to catch wood just on the stones. Let's try this again. But I should be able to get to cut just on the fine without having to go to extra fine, without having to strop. I should be able to get to cut a little bit. If it's not cutting, I need to go back to the stones. Turning it the whole time, trying not to get any one side too much. And here's the thing, I don't want to go this way and back this way, turning it like that U shape the whole time. Because if I do that continually, I will get the middle section, the middle of that bow, far more than I get the left and right side. I'll get the left and right side by half as much. So I want to make sure I concentrate on each section. Divide this thing up into thirds, a left third, middle third, and a right third. And then try to make sure you concentrate on each section a little bit. And then move to the next section a little bit. And then back to section 3. And then go back around to section 1. Down to section 2. Over to section 3. Back to section 1, so you keep the tool even as you go through there. Okay, so I'm starting, check it out. I'm starting to catch wood now. It's tearing, so it's not quite sharp enough. I haven't got that apex where I want to, but I'm starting to catch wood, which is a good first step. Okay. It's biting more now. Just now, like when I cut with it, it's biting really well, but we've got that draggingness happening on one side. You can see that in the wood. See how it's dragging on one side? So there's one side that's not sharpened properly. Now looking at the tool, we are pretty straight all the way across. I don't see any chips there. I don't see them on the tool itself, but obviously that chip is definitely there because you can see it tearing on the wood. So let me freshen up the area that we're going to use in the carve on. I want to have a nice smooth area I can look at that's not going to have those tears, so I know whether or not I've generated new tears or not. So yeah, you can see that tear generating on one side. So we know what side we're concentrating on. Now let's see. It's better, but it's not perfect. So you can see it's better. Now here's the thing about this. I am using the tool to determine what I need to do. I'm testing the tool and I'm going back to the stone. I'm testing the tool and I'm going back to the stone. I cannot just show you, do this thing and your tool will be sharp. This is something you're going to have to think on. This is something you're going to have to troubleshoot. This is something that you're going to have to work at to develop the skill of knowing what to do next. And when I say what to do next, it's all about what side of the tool do I work on and how. Because we're trying to generate that apex. If you haven't watched Sharpening, the first Sharpening video I did, watch that video first, because this is just an extension of that skill set. Yeah, that's much better. We're almost there. It's at this point right here that if I had a buffing wheel and stropping compound, I would take it to a buffing wheel and stropping compound, and I'd be it the rest of the way pretty quickly, pretty easily. But since I don't want to do that for the video, I'm going to stay right here on the stones, and I'm going to keep going till we get there. Okay. And there we go. So now I'm cutting wood with that tool. And you'll notice there's no tears. No tears. I'm trying to use the left side of it a little bit more, use the right side a little bit more to see if I can get to tear on either one side more than the other. But I don't see it tearing at all. That looks like good, clean cuts. No fuss, no muss. That did not take us that long to do, and we fixed this tool up. It is much better to do than buying a new tool. If you can buy stones, I think, for like, you can buy a good diamond stone that's got fine and extra coarse, right? Which we just used. Those are the two we just used. I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to do any more. We can do the rest on a strop, okay? You got to strop this tool up, and you'll be perfect. You'll be dead set. But fine with a a fine stone is so close to a strop with compound, it's not even silly. You can see we got this to whittling condition, sharp enough to cut with without a strop right there, without using a strop, because you are so close with a fine diamond stone to a strop with compound, it's not even funny. Now, I'm still going to want to strop this because I wanted to go the extra mile because it's not quite a one for one. It is close, just not quite. So I'm still going to strop this. But if you had a coarse and fine stone, that's all you really need. And you can get those for like 30 or 40 bucks. So if you're looking at what you should get to be able to fix your tools, I definitely suggest diamond stones. There are alternatives where you can do sandpaper. A lot of people like that. Absolutely. If that's what you want, do what you want. As long as you're getting there, as long as you're getting your tool sharp, it doesn't matter what you use. It's completely and totally subjective. As long as the tool is sharp, hashtag winning, you have won the day and no one can say anything to you about anything that you've gotten done. And folks, that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for sticking on the end of the video. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to say thank you to our Patreon subscribers in the comment section down below because they're really helping me out on the channel. Patreon has become a fantastic place for me. I'm posting process shots of most of the carvings I do on lunch breaks or whatnot. It's just some extra content over there. So if you're looking at anything particular you might see that I've made on social media, if you want to see process shots on how I made it or what I did while I did it, you can head over there. You might be able to find it over there. And it's free. That's kind of thing is like free content. So, I mean, it's pretty easy. There's a lot of free content over there if you want to take a look at it. Outside of that, thank you so much for sticking on the video. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, head over to Facebook, Instagram, give me a like and a follow over there if you will. I'll see you folks next time.